spokesperson for Chicago Mayor Richard Daley says he wants to move on and will not seek a re-election. So does that mean President Obama will have to search for a new chief of staff? Washington executive editor Al Hunt joining us to explain exactly what these two things have to do with each other. Al, lots to talk about. First, let's talk about Mayor Daley. You've known him a long time, so not surprised to see him do this.
Well, I wouldn't say that, Carol, although his wife has been sick with cancer. She's beaten it for 8 years. The Daleys are like the Kennedys. Family is central. I have to think that family is part of the reason. He also will have been mayor for even longer than his father and leaves an extraordinary legacy. I think he will go down as one of the 2 or 3 most significant mayors in the history of America.
Talk about that legacy. I mean, why it is so extraordinary, if you would, Al.
Carol, his father had this incredible coalition of labor and business and the ethnic ward leaders and the black machine politicians. Rich Daley kept some of that coalition, especially business, but he's added to it gays and environmentalists and people with disabilities. When he became mayor in 1989, they used to bring pistols to City Hall. The racial tensions were so great. He now commands a majority support from the African-American community out there, and Chicago is a city, as they say, that works. He's put up with a little corruption, as they say, to achieve that record, but I think it really is an extraordinary record. He wouldn't like me saying this, but I think he has well eclipsed his father. All
right, now let's talk about Rahm Emanuel, because we mentioned in our lead-in to you that maybe President Obama is going to have to search for a new chief of staff. So is Rahm Emanuel the likely person here to take over, if you will?
No, he would love it. There's nothing he'd like more. Look, mayor of Chicago only becomes open about 2 or 3 times every 50 years. This is anybody who grew up in Chicago. This is their dream job for years. It's what Barack Obama thought he would aspire to. So Rahm would love to be mayor of Chicago, but there's no way you can clear that field. It will be a very tough primary. He may run, but he knows if he does, it'll be very competitive. I will tell you this: the mayor told someone I know very well a few months ago Rahm would have a very difficult time winning a primary. So I think he's got to make a decision very soon, because it's a February primary, and if he's going to run, he's got to get in that race in the next week or 2.
But do you think he's going to? You said it's going to be tough. You say it's going to be tough, but you know this stuff. You know the inside and out, in terms of what goes on in terms of politics.
Carol, I just talked to a good friend of his before we came on the air, and she thinks he will run. My guess is he will not run, but I must admit I don't know that this all happened so fast.
Yeah, it did.
And if he does run, I'm not sure who would replace him as chief of staff. If I had to guess now, it would be one of the 2 Toms. If they go outside, it would be Tom Daschle. If they stay inside, it'll be Tom Donilon. And this is all off the top of my head, Carol Massar.
Well, you're pretty incredible when you do it off the top of your head. Let me ask you, though, I got to ask you about the president, too. I know we're talking a lot about Chicago, but the president right now putting out some plans in terms of helping out the economy. We got 30 seconds left here, Al. I mean, you think this is going to play at all with Congress?
No, short term, I think it's going to be very, very difficult. But the infrastructure proposals, I think long term can command even bipartisan support, particularly the banks. So I think it's a really interesting proposal. But the political climate is poisonous right now, which makes it very difficult to do anything.
Yeah, very tough one, to say the least. Hey, Al, good to talk with you always. Washington executive editor. Boy, it feels like Monday and it's Tuesday. All right. Washington executive editor Al Hunt joining us from Washington.